Hey guys, and welcome back to the LOWBAT podcast. If you've been following along with us, we're back after a little break with a slate full of episodes for you. On this week's podcast, we bring you a frequent name mentioned on the show, music producer Will Beasley. We chat with Will about his beginnings in music and transitioning into the studio world, his favorite bands, and some cool insight on production that he's gathered in his time as a producer. We want to thank everyone for being patient with us, and we're excited to unveil the guests we have lined up in the coming episodes. Hit up our socials and hit the like and subscribe buttons to keep up with new episodes. And now, enjoy a conversation with the man himself, Will Beasley.
You are now listening to the LOWBAT podcast,
a weekly show highlighting members of our local creative community and featuring topical conversations with members of the LOWBAT production team. We're your hosts, Casey House
and Fabian Castaneda. Through our own experiences as musicians, visual artists, and business owners, we saw an opportunity to provide a platform for people just like us to deep dive into what it's like to pursue a lifestyle outside of the norm.
Without further ado, welcome to the LOWBAT podcast.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the LOWBAT podcast. Today, we have a really special guest, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Will Beasley.
Wow, what an intro. Thank you.
We got a little bit more. So Will here, if you haven't heard us talk about him enough, he is a audio engineer and a producer. He's worked with so many amazing bands like Emarosa. We got Dangerous Summer, Turnstile, Asking Alexandria. So many more. We'll get into that in a bit, but thank you so much for coming. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So I want to kind of start at the beginning a little bit. I'm curious about your background in music. We haven't really gotten into that too much. So do you have like formal training or like what is your start to like what's your background in music?
Yeah, so I started playing guitar. That was my first instrument, and then I had a few guitar teachers like growing up, like throughout like middle school and high school. I started when I was about maybe like 9, 10, something like that. One of my friends, his dad played guitar, and I just went over there and like I saw him playing. I was like, "Whoa, that's super cool!"
That's kind of cool. I want to do that.
Yeah, exactly. And he was actually my first guitar teacher. Like I kind of showed an interest in it, and he was like, "Hey, I can teach you some stuff." And then he was actually really into teaching, and he started teaching a bunch of other people too. So it was
nice.
It was pretty cool. He was my first teacher, and I was his first student. So like, we were kind of figuring it out together.
Go figure. But, this dude started it. Started it all.
Yeah, just saw the guitar and was into it, and and then as far as recording and stuff, that really came about from I used to do like YouTube covers a lot when I was like 12, 13. Okay. And I was seeing all the people on YouTube, like I was like, how are they making this sound so good? Because I was just using like the camcorder and like setting it up and like playing to a backtrack or whatever. And so I was like, okay, what do I need to do to make it sound better? So it really started from like just recording my guitar to like a backtrack, like I said. And then I was in a band and we needed some demos, and
you're like, oh, I
have
how to do this.
I have a mic, so I can hit record, like, and then it kind of just that process really like it was really like recording drums for that, where I was like, oh my god, this is a whole world that like I just want to dive into.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty similar to how I started because I grew up being a drummer in local bands and things like that. But I did do covers on YouTube. Very poor ones. Don't ever look up like my covers from like 2009.
Oh yeah, I deleted all mine.
Oh, so they did.
You can't
mine exists, but I'm not gonna ever share them. If you happen to come by it, then go ahead.
Oh, I'm gonna be searching tonight.
I'm pretty sure the first like recordings that I ever did that weren't just straight up camcorder audio was with Rock Band microphones.
Nice.
Or USB.
That's awesome.
Oh, that was the We Scream War stuff, right?
Yes, our first demos were done with Rock Band microphones on a Fender Champ 15.
That's incredible.
Epic. That's so sick.
The fact that it like was at least audible is stupid.
I mean, they're
real mics,
decent USB mics.
That's so you got started with covers. Do you remember what your first cover was?
Oh, I don't remember what the first. I know that I remember the one that did the best on YouTube was Back in Black by AC/DC.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, that one, the people really loved that.
Was that the realm of music that you were aiming for when you were doing the covers and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, when I first started playing, it was more geared towards like the kind of the classic rock, just because it was a lot. I mean, you start playing guitar and you're like, oh, I want to play guitar solos. Like that kind of music's full of it. So, so that was kind of like the first kind of music I was playing was like classic rock and blues and that kind of thing. And that's pretty much how I started playing.
And so with actually recording, it was out of necessity because your band just needed to do it, and you were like, I could try this. I have the equipment.
Yeah,
to make
totally.
It happen.
Like I said, I had like a I think I had a 2-channel interface at the time, something like an inbox or something like that. And just kind of went for it, just set it up, and like really, it was really when I got, because that was right around the time that I got like Pro Tools too. That was I was fortunate enough to a family friend had like kind of done the whole music thing. Like he's not really an engineer, but he has been in bands and stuff his whole life. Like been in like real recording studios and things, and had some experience. And when I was showing interest in it, he was like, "You got to get Pro Tools." Like he was like, "Everyone uses Pro Tools," So, and I mean, this was like early 2000s, or I guess mid 2000s, but so I mean, it kind of was true.
Right,
then
that
too.
was like
now
standard.
It's not as much true for sure, but yeah. So that was just the first thing I got, and kind of stuck with it. I've never used anything else.
Pro Tools is complicated. I like Pro Tools, and especially for what you're doing, like it makes sense because you're like actually producing real music. But I've always felt like for demos or for like just like more simple stuff that doesn't have like 100 tracks going and all these plugins and all this like intensity, it's like it's not that user friendly. I've always like I felt Cubase was so much more user friendly.
Yeah, I mean it's hard for me to honestly even know because like I said I don't know anything else. I was like, hey, it's not broke. I'm like, I mean if it ain't broke, don't fix it,
Yeah.
So I just haven't even really toyed with anything else. Honestly, I know that like definitely a lot of people say that. I guess what it seems like is like Cubase and like Logic and Ableton are kind of more geared towards like more like programming and things like that, and then Pro Tools seems like the best in my opinion for like live recording, like live drums, and just because like the beat detective and drum editing, and it's also smooth, and it's the most workflow, like it's more based around like an analog workflow than anything else. It's kind of like kind of based as like a tape machine in a way.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So who do you remember who the first like band that you had to, or artist or whatever it may have been, that was like you got paid to do it, or you did it for a friend, or like that wasn't your own project, but you were like, I will record somebody else?
Yeah. I think my first like paid thing probably and I'm sorry if I'm like butchering the name, but I'm pretty sure it was this band called My Charming Charade from Virginia Beach.
I recognize that name.
You recognize the name? Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. They're from around here, or at least were. And I don't even know how we met, honestly. I haven't stayed in contact with any of the members or anything, but I just remember I was 16 and I was like, hey, you guys want to come do some songs? And I think they paid me like maybe like $50 a song or something like that.
Did you do that at your house?
Introductory fee.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And you only had a 2-channel interface, or did you upgrade at that
I
point?
might have had something different at that point, but I honestly don't remember.
Okay.
I was probably programming drums. I was probably programming drums.
Okay.
Do you remember what the first program you used to?
Superior Drum.
Superior. Okay.
Yeah. That's still all I mean, I don't really program drums very much anymore. If I do, it's just like for writing purposes and stuff, and that just kind of gets the job done for me. But
so fast forward a bit to the first where you would say it's like, okay, this is like something I want to pursue, something like actually engineering, producing, where you were like, I can make this into a thing. Do you like have a moment where you can recognize that you were like, this is the turning point where I want to start really doing this?
Yeah, totally. Actually, so my kind of my goal when I was in high school was like, I mean I've always known I wanted to do music. basically kind of my whole mindset since I really started playing music was like, okay, one day I don't really care what it is. I just want to be playing music and paying my bills doing it. Like, I don't care what it is. Like, I just want to do that. Like, and yeah, I mean, and producing has come into that. And so when I was in high school, I wanted to go to Berkeley really bad, in Boston, and right around the time that I had like my audition to try to get in, I had gotten an internship at a studio in Baltimore, or at least was talking about it. And it seemed like it might work out, and yeah, I mean, really, just from then, like pretty much right after I graduated high school, and I moved to I ended up not going to Berkeley. I ended up doing the internship instead, because I mean, honestly, my parents were like, okay, if you're not going to go to college, you got to do like, you got to show some kind of initiative. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, really, it was that kind of moment of just moving up to Baltimore, totally on my own, didn't know anyone or anything, and just kind of like, all right, let's do this. Like,
that's crazy. You did that right out of high school. Like,
yeah.
That was with Taylor, right?
No. This is with Paul Levitt.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that you. Okay. So was it just posted online, or how did you end up applying for that?
So I had liked a few of the bands that he had recorded, but it literally was just emailed him out of the blue, and for some reason he responded.
They're like, "Hey, you need any assistance?"
Yeah, I mean,
I guess, yeah.
I literally just basically told him that, like, "Hey, my parents said if I don't go to college, I have to do something, and I like your records, and I like to record. So if you need some help, I'll move up there." And I think that was kind of that's what he said later, at least, was kind of that initiative to like just be willing to like pick up and do it. That was kind of what made it stand out to him, to where he was like, yeah, this could be cool. So,
man,
how long did you intern there for?
So I was at the studio for about, I'd say 2 or 3 years. Probably closer to 3 years. But so I interned really for like a year, and then the next 2 years, I just had rented a space in the studio and was recording my own band, like my own artists that I brought in.
Cool.
And that was kind of what was really cool about that whole experience too. Was like he's very like, you're going to be doing stuff, and you're going to be like really tracking and like really working with the bands, and it's not like go get me coffee, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it was really like a big like hands-on experience, and it was really, really awesome to just get thrown into it like that.
That's awesome, because sometimes I hear stories of like audio interns being like, all right, you're here, edit all these drums.
Yeah.
Like, and that's it. Like, you're going to get the most mundane tasks, and like that's how you're going to survive.
Yeah,
this.
I mean that is a lot of it too. Is
really?
Like, I mean, editing drums. But I mean, at that time, I mean, I didn't even know how to edit drums at all. So like,
I mean, it's good skills to learn. You got to know all the back end stuff. It's
absolutely.
not just recording.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, and then you get good enough to where then you have other people do it for you,
right?
Because I mean, it is kind of a mundane task. But yeah, it definitely is a skill set that like you kind of need to learn. I feel like, at least this day and age, maybe like 20 years ago you could have gotten away with not knowing it, but I don't think you can now.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the barrier to entry is so low now. You people get away with just like a laptop and
totally, yeah,
just making it work that way.
Yeah, and program drums. I mean, there are a lot of records that are just made.
That is such a debate nowadays. I
Yeah.
literally, there was like just one thread that was the typical like, this artist right here is really nice, really good release was recorded on Superior Drummer, and then just a thread of just people being angry. Like,
yeah.
But I mean, like it's the way things are now.
I used to get angry about it. I don't anymore. I get it. I lean heavily on live drums if it's an option, but I also understand it's really not always an option. Having a room and it's a lot to record live drums. It's not just like you need one microphone, like or just a DI track and then some plugins.
Hey,
like
you can do one microphone depending on the
depending on the situation.
Right? Yeah,
that's got to be. Have you ever released anything that was recorded with just one mic on drums?
I think the least is probably 2. I think I used the kick mic as well. But yeah, one time I was doing like kind of like a 50s-esque inspired thing.
Okay.
And yeah, just the one mono overhead and then a kick mic. That was the sound. I mean, and the key to that is also like a lot of people don't realize with recording drums how important. I mean, it seems it's like super obvious. People love to look at like the technical and stuff like that, but really at the heart of it with anything, the longer I do it is like the person playing the instrument is king. Like it doesn't matter. Nothing else really matters. I mean, obviously it does, but I'd say like, the majority of the sound is going to be coming from the person playing the instrument, no matter what it is. Like
drums are definitely one of those things too that like cymbals are questionable, but drums you can usually make like you can make the worst drum set sound pretty damn good.
totally,
as long as it's being played right. It's tuned decently. But even that is questionable. Like I've seen so many kits that are like the heads have dents in them,
yeah,
and it's just absolutely torn to shreds. But like the person is just crushing it, and it still sounds phenomenal. It's really cool.
yeah, and I think it really just kind of goes into that like that deep emotional thing of music in general, where it's like, I mean, obviously, it made it my profession to like manipulate sound and worry about little things like that most people probably wouldn't really even like notice or anything, but I think it all kind of builds into the subliminal emotional like thing that is music, which is like it really comes from within the person, you know what I mean, like, and like emotion translates through it. It's
so, and like speaking on mixes, an issue that I have all the time is ever since getting into like producing and like caring about mixes in general, as little as I have, I've like if a song doesn't have a mix that I like, it can be like the best song in the world, and I might write it off as like this is not good.
yeah, totally.
Like,
I mean,
is that an issue that you run into?
I mean, I definitely I think that that's something that I used to think about a lot more than I do now, actually. I think now I mean also like you said, like the entry level, like the worst recording today in 2020 is like probably better than the best recording like 50 years, 50, 60
That's
years
fair.
ago, as far as like clarity, just like ease of clarity and like I mean, I'm not saying, I mean, I love the sound of old records and stuff that sound amazing, and
Technology's just gotten better though.
but yeah, it's just a lot easier to get your idea across to where it's like you can hear it and the listener can get whatever you were trying to get out of it, you know what I mean? And so yeah, I mean, I kind of pay attention. I mean, obviously if it's terrible, I'm just like, okay, what's going on
Well, yeah,
here?
what
But
do we try to accomplish here?
yeah, but I mean, also most of the time, it's kind of like a great song makes the mix sound better in a way. You know what I mean? Like I like sometimes there are things with the mix that's like, okay, that's pretty weird, but it works for this song. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
Right,
I
you
think
always have to-
experimentation is cool.
Yeah, you always have
Totally.
to go about like you got to think about what they were trying to actually
Yeah.
sound like, because if they wanted to be lo-fi, then then it might
Yeah,
not
and
sound
if that
as good, but
yeah.
it fits the part.
yeah, totally, for sure.
That's definitely also something with like your mixes in general. We were actually just listening to a bunch of the stuff that's on your website before you got here.
Oh, cool.
And the variety is so cool. Nothing like
thank you.
it. That's one of the things that like whenever we decided we wanted to work with you with my band, we looked at that at like you're not just like a one trick dude. You're like you have so many interesting mixes and different sounds, and like some of them sound like completely like it could be recorded from a different building, different mics, different person entirely, but like it's all still you. And
Well, I
that's
really
like,
appreciate that.
do you feel like that comes from you or the input of the band or a mixture of both? Like whenever a band like shows you demos,
Yeah.
do you go, oh, I know exactly the kind of like this needs this kind of a sound?
Yeah, totally. I mean, and that's I'm glad that you noticed that, and I'm glad that I'm hopefully achieving that. 'Cause, I mean, that's kind of always been my thing a lot, is like, there's so many types of music and so many, I love all music. So like, I don't really want to, I mean, a metal band shouldn't sound like a country band. You know what I mean? Like you should do different things to make that translate, because it doesn't. I mean, while yeah, you're still using similar instruments like drums, bass, and guitar. It's like, it's a totally different emotion. It's a totally different type style. Like, so
Yeah.
you kind of. I've always tried to like not so much have. I guess I don't always want like. I don't want people to listen to a record that I did and think, oh, this sounds like a Will Beasley record. Like, I want people to listen to a record and think, this sounds like the band. Or, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to imprint my taste and style so much on every record that it like, totally takes over what the band's vision is. You know what I'm saying?
Like you want it to be like, wow, this record sounds good. Who did it?
Yeah, exactly.
Will Beasley did it.
I want to do justice to the music. I don't want to like have. I mean, maybe a lot of times.
I hope the mic picked that up. Daenerys just be out. All right, see you later, Daenerys.
But yeah, I mean, so I mean, I just don't want to. If someone is working with me, I don't want to impose, my taste on their vision, because at the end of the day, it is their vision. And I mean, obviously, I'm gonna try. If there are things that I think that the band isn't seeing clearly, maybe they could see their vision a little better if we, cleared some things up. Then obviously, I'm gonna say that, and we'll get to it. But I think that overall, I mean, my goal is always to just like take the music for what it is and think, okay, what can I do to make this better? Like, at the end of the day, I try to keep my mind, because you can get, there's so many different variables. You can get a lot of clutter in your mind. So I mean, I really just try to think of it like, okay, let's not make this worse. Like, if we make this better, even if it's slightly better, then the job's done. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you're gonna have to do a lot more work than others. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you made it better, then that's the goal.
That's what I have learned that I want to look for in any producer any time in the future is like, I really like collaboration over like press record. Yeah. Because even if like I have a song that I'm like, this is done. The song is finished. I'm happy about it 100%. Still getting that outside opinion. And that's why you also choose a producer you want to work with. It's like, I actually respect your opinion, so I want to hear it. And like, maybe you'll have an idea that you want to change something, or you might also be like, this is great, let's just record it.
Yeah, totally.
Having that like sixth member, or however many people you have in your band, but usually 5, having that extra person jump in and be like, this is my first time hearing this. These are my opinions, I think is so useful.
Oh yeah, totally. Absolutely. And I mean, when I'm producing my own band's music, that's kind of sometimes a struggle that I run into, where it's like, when you're from the start of writing it to producing it, recording it, to mixing it, mastering it, like, it's all, there's just, it's sometimes hard to get that perspective that is so valuable when you're, so close.
Yeah, definitely, because you've been there since the inception, that you think that you're putting in the most work you can put in.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, your vision, like when you started something, you have a vision in your mind, and the reality is that for better or worse, the end goal, the end result might not be the vision that you had in the beginning. But if you're still hanging on to that vision, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's hard to see what it could be because you're so stuck on that beginning thing when it's like this actually happens a lot with bands that I've noticed is like, so it seems like they write a song or something and they have an idea that they put down that's like started the song, and this happens to me all the time too, that like starts the song like a riff or an idea or whatever, and then as they build upon the song, because they have that they now have a bass line, like it's like everything after it is like better than that. So then by the end of the song, it's like
that beginning riff is.
It's like by the end of the song, the beginning riff is not as good as this. Yeah. Exactly. So now it's like, but sometimes it's hard to be like, hey, this last minute of the song is so special and like could be the whole, like this could be an amazing song, but you've got these like other parts that, you know, kind of helped you start and you're really attached to that. It's sometimes hard to see, you know.
I think that's awesome. Like starting somewhere with again with a fully finished song, and then that finished product is completely different. That doesn't mean that it's a new song or that the old song doesn't matter. It's like that was inspiration to get us to this point.
Totally, yeah, absolutely.
And if you're happy with the new thing, first off, the old thing isn't gone. You can always look back at that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the new thing, everybody's like, oh, this is a better song. It's like,
totally.
Well, you got there.
Yeah, and I mean, just the like creating in the studio too is something that I think a lot of bands really, it puts them in a different mindset and a new like a zone where they're not quite as maybe comfortable as like, you know, where they're used to writing, and it's kind of a little bit faster paced. So you got to like, I think that there's a lot to be said about music where you don't think about it. So, like, I think the greatest quote that I've ever heard is like, songs that are easy to write are easy to listen to.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I think that that's pretty that's like some pretty sage advice. I mean, obviously it's not always going to be like that, but yeah. I mean, I do think overall, like, a lot of times people just think about things too much. You know, a lot of times people think they have to put, you know, every idea that they've ever had into a song when it's like, no, I mean, all these are separately good ideas, but they don't all necessarily need to be together. You know what I mean? So
I feel like that's why it's common that bands that have that issue of like just writing, they end up writing like 20, 30 songs, and then they'll pick bits and pieces from a bunch of the different songs and consolidate them into like, this will work as one cohesive idea. I think that that's always like a really cool idea. And also like, I know you work with a variety of some of the bands we mentioned before were like on their like 6th record or whatever, but you also work on a lot of first records.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the issue that people run into all the time is like, especially if they're doing an EP, those are their like 5 songs.
Yeah.
That's all that they have. So it's like, it feels like the end all be all, nothing can change, or like everything is so important. It's like, no, just do it. You write another record when you're done. Like, it's cool.
Yeah. And I mean, I think another important thing in collaboration in general is I usually try not to come to the table like just with problems. You know what I mean? It's like, usually if I feel like there's something that needs to be addressed, I usually try to have an alternative like ready to go, just because I feel like when you're, you know, if you're just like throwing wrenches basically in the creative process, like if you're just like, oh, this sucks or this part's bad, but it's like, okay, what don't you like about it? It's like, I don't know, I just don't like it. And then it's like, okay,
what are we gonna do with it?
It can be exhausting.
Sweet, thanks for the direction. You know what I mean? It's like now everyone's just in a bad mood.
So in your time up in Baltimore, what would you? I want to hear some. You don't have to name names. I want to hear some dirt. I want to hear some like have you had any experiences that were like a band freaking out, or like something went wrong, or like whatever?
Just right off the top of my head, I did make this one drummer cry one time. Which, I mean, I'm not the I mean, you can probably tell by just me talking, I'm pretty like soft spoken. Like I'm not very like mean or like aggressive really, you know what I mean? I mean, I definitely say what I think, but you know, I'm not going to like yell at anyone really.
Yeah.
Unless I guess they deserve it, but yeah, I mean, it was really just a matter of he was pretty unprepared, and
that's a good word for it.
Yeah, he was very unprepared and was doing things, let's just say, above his skill set.
Okay.
You know, like trying to do some like Between the Buried and Me or something like that, but probably should have just kept working on like the 4 on the floor beat or something.
Hey, play the pocket, relax.
And having to tell him, you know, hey, I think you might need to go home and practice. It's really shattered him. I felt terrible, but
I mean, that's
that's
reasonable.
like pretty. I mean, I don't have a ton of like crazy dirt stories. Honestly, I can't really think of any.
I mean, I can say whenever I was recording my drums up there, I was very out of practice, and I was so worried that I was like, not because I assume you're a dick, because I know you're not, but like I was just like, man, I'm underprepared. I'm gonna sit down and like completely trash it, and I'm gonna be sent home to like, oh, we'll record another day or whatever. I'm glad it didn't happen, but I definitely like I couldn't imagine. I would have been like heartbroken,
Especially if you think about like the caliber of people that he has been able to engineer and produce.
Yeah, no kidding. It's like you've worked with like phenomenal drummers, and you get like somebody in there that's just like, oh, I just thought you were gonna like just fix it, make it better. I mean, must happen all the time.
I mean, honestly, luckily, the longer I do it, you know, the better the bands get in general. I mean, the better I've gotten to. I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of like, I'm sure bands from like my early days have horror stories about me like being an idiot. You know what I mean? But
we're gonna reach out to the. We're gonna put together bands that you've worked with that aren't together anymore.
Yeah, I'm sure the first band, My Charming Charade. I'm sure they probably have a horror story.
All right, so look, Will Beasley. Here's the thing.
Like that
dude sucks. So some of the bigger bands that you've worked with, how have those come to be? Were those just you like being called in to be an assistant on, or like I'll start with like Asking Alexandria.
Yeah, so like that, I mean, that was while I was working with Taylor Larson, and yeah, so I was an assistant on that project. We mixed it, and got mixed at the studio. He mixed it. I was the assistant engineer on it, and yeah, I mean, so stuff like that, and the Emerosa album is pretty similar. I was an assistant on that, and then the Dangerous Summer stuff that I did recently, that was the main producer and engineer on, and then my good buddy Paul Levitt, the guy who I did my internship, he mixed it, which was awesome. So
like with the earlier ones with like Asking Alexandria or Emerosa, how hands-on were you with actually working with the band? Because you were engineering, so I imagine you were pretty involved.
Yeah, so I mean, it just kind of depends on the band and on the session, really. Like Asking, for example, I mean, they never, that was all remote mixing, so like they never like came to the studio or anything. They probably don't even know who I am, honestly. Like, yeah, I mean, that was just me helping Taylor, you know, get his, you know, just get all the ducks in a row and make sure everything's ready to go. And
Are they an English band?
Yeah, they're from the UK.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, and then like Emerosa, so on that, I helped track the bass player, and I helped track like some guitars, and you know, if they needed to do anything like after hours or anything, I was kind of the dude there to do that. And yeah, and then I guess you mentioned Turnstile earlier, and that one, so that one actually was a really cool one. That one I got to work on like a lot more than some of the other ones that I did like with Brian and Paul while I was in Baltimore. I'd been there for a while, so I guess they trusted me a little more, you know. But yeah, that one was really cool. So Brian McTurnan, he's the other guy who shared the studio at the time. He essentially they did like demos and pre-production, and then, you know, once the pre-production's done and it's like, okay, this is what's, you know, that's kind of like the rough draft, essentially, like this is what's going to be recorded, like now let's do it. So that's kind of where I came in, and with all the instruments, he pretty much just like, all right, sweet, go for it. And yeah, and then he'd come in at the end of the day and just be like, all right, cool, sounds good. Or
so just you in the band.
Yeah, for the instruments, and then he did the vocals and he mixed it as well. And I mean, he was in and out, you know, helping set up, and if something wasn't right, then he was. I mean, it was just the role. It was cool because working there a lot, because it really was like I feel like there's a lot of like one person does everything now. A lot like one person kind of does the producing, one person does the engineering, one person does the mixing, and all that. And there it was cool because we were able to like split it up a little bit, So I mean, he's able to do a better job producing the band if I'm able to take some stress off and track the guitars and track the drums and stuff like that, and kind of worry about those things.
I feel like that's the same mindset that we have here. I've like a lot of videographers and like people that do music videos in this area, I feel like are just like a dude with a camera.
Yeah.
And we focus on having like a crew and having 5-6 people all on hand to be able to handle their specific stuff. Mainly so Ethan, who mainly controls the camera, can actually like get the shots that he's supposed to be getting, and he's not cluttered with all the other aspects of everything. It's just like, things are getting taken care of, and I have this to focus on.
Absolutely. And that's, I mean, for anyone who is, in a collaborative or like an assistant or anything like that, I mean, really your job is to like, what can I be doing to make things just easier and for everyone involved? You know what I mean? Like, where can I be useful and where can I, make it work so that everyone can do the best job that they can. And,
is that somewhere where you're looking to head now?
Yeah, I actually have an intern that just started.
Oh, really?
A few months ago. His name's Tommy Harton. He's goes to school up in Shenandoah. He's in recording school right now, and he'll graduate, I think, in like a month or two or something like that.
Nice.
And and then he'll be coming down full time. So
whoa,
that'll be cool. Yeah, because right now, I mean, like I said, he's still in school, so it's kind of like a lot of remote stuff. But yeah, he'll be actually like in the studio pretty soon. So I'm really excited for that. It's going to be awesome.
That's going to take a big load off your shoulders, I'm sure.
Yeah, totally.
Having to just be you and the band and you handle everything all the time.
Yeah, it definitely gets a little like, it definitely can get daunting. I mean, I like it, so it doesn't bother me too much. I mean, I'm not old and burned out yet, so so I still like it, but I'm sure one day that'll change, and hopefully having help will prolong that.
Where do you it's been obviously growing over time, and you're looking at getting a new place soon, right?
Yeah, so there's a new studio in Richmond that's being built right now. It's going to be called the Bakery Recording Studios.
Oh, okay.
And it's I mean it's in the works right now. So
is there a reason it's called the Bakery?
The building was an old bakery.
Oh, cool.
So,
Heck yeah.
yeah, so it just seemed to make sense.
Is it going to be just you, or are there going to be other like Studio A, Studio B, different people working?
So there are multiple studios in the building. I'm kind of unaware of if anyone else is renting the other ones out now. I don't think there's another tenants for the other ones yet, but I mean, that's definitely something that would be preferred, to have other. I mean, there's going to be multiple studios, so I'm sure he wants that. I'm essentially renting one of the studios out, and they'll all be, for rent either daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, if people want,
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm really excited for that. It's going to be really cool. It's kind of it'll honestly be probably the first studio that I've been in that was like actually made to be a studio.
Not an office.
Yeah, not an office. It's just like transformed. Which I mean totally works. I mean, but it'll just be it'll just kind of be a different chapter, really. I'm really excited. So
So as far as there was a specific one I was really curious about. Of all the bands, if you had to name one right now, every band, artist, anything you could work on, who would you want to like show up, give you a call, and be like, I want you to do my record? Can be anybody at the absolute Beyonce. Doesn't matter. Beyonce would be nuts.
I'm gonna go with Thrice.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I really like them a lot.
A
They're
childhood
awesome.
favorite type thing.
Yeah,
like...
they're amazing. They're so good. Not even. I mean, not even childhood is. I got into them. I mean, obviously, I listened to their earlier stuff too, but I got into the album with I can't believe I'm not even remembering the name of the album, but the one with like Hurricane and Black Honey. Do you guys listen to Thrice very much?
I don't think I've ever sat down and listened to Thrice before.
Man,
I've definitely been like, yeah, this is good music, but like,
yeah, I love them. Yeah, well, you guys should check them out. You guys are into like pretty heavy music, right?
I mean,
it varies.
Varies.
Yeah, I definitely steer away from the more like I don't want to say like dad rock, butt rock stuff. And that's what I assume Thrice is. I could be completely wrong. But,
I wouldn't consider it. I wouldn't really consider it that personally.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like it's like progressive, like hard rock in a way. I mean, it's not like progressive like Periphery or anything like that, but it's definitely like it's not like they're writing like Nickelback or anything like that. You know what I mean?
I mean, like, I say I don't like butt rock, but Nickelback got some.
he got some hits.
Nickelback got some hits.
Yeah,
it's like it's like post rock. Like it's got some.
Yeah,
cool,
post rock. That's
cool
a good. That's
post
the genre.
rock.
Yeah.
Who else would you say is post rock? I'm trying to get like a
post rock. I feel like
who would play a show with Thrice?
Circus Survive.
Yeah,
maybe? Like,
Thursday.
I don't
bands like that.
Yeah,
like Circus Survive. Yeah, I don't like his voice.
Really? Oh, yeah. I guess I can see that.
Yeah, I feel like his voice is a.
Yeah, you like Pierce Seville.
Yeah,
I do like Pierce.
It's kind of like a similar kind.
I feel like it's different.
Maybe it's timing. Maybe you just didn't hear it at the right time.
Yeah, because I've listened to Pierce Seville for a long time, and Circus Survive. Actually, we were talking about him before. Dylan Taylor. That's who like kept pushing Circus Survive on me.
Yeah, he does love Circus Survive.
He's big on Circus Survive, and I was always just like, I basically kind of ignored it. I was just like, no, I'm not going to give him a chance. And then I was like, you know what? Let me give him a chance, and I didn't like it.
Hey,
I was probably like a junior in high school, maybe a senior at that point. Nope, didn't do it for me. And they play here a lot, or at least they used to.
I don't know.
I always felt like he was posting about like, oh, gonna go see Circus Survive again today. I was just like, damn, you saw him yesterday. What are you like?
He's following them.
I didn't even think about that. He absolutely could have done that.
That's possible.
I gotta ask him about that.
That's funny.
So Thrice.
Yeah, Thrice. Thrice is sick. I feel like their band I really like, and I feel like it's like kind of in my wheelhouse. Like I feel like I could do a good job.
Yeah, definitely. I was thinking about the style of music that goes through your studio.
I figured that would be a point that you would think of. Like,
well, yeah, I wouldn't want to do something I'm not going to do a good job on.
I want to like the first record that comes to mind of like I wish I could have been there for would be like Paramore recording their self-titled album. Oh, just because of how phenomenal it turned out.
I might change my answer to Paramore.
Really? Ooh, okay. Oh, look at that. Changed his mind.
I could go either way. I mean, if either one of those bands hit me up, I would be ecstatic.
Would you be more excited to record a self-titled style Paramore or a After Laughter style Paramore?
Self-titled.
Okay,
sure.
That's
my favorite. That's my favorite Paramore album for sure.
I agree completely. I was late to the game too. That was like when I got into them.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, honestly, I listened to. That's not true. I listened to Riot. Yeah. Okay. Never mind. I listened to Riot and.
I listened to like the big songs, Brand New Eyes.
Yes.
I listened to the big songs, like everybody.
The ones that went on the radio.
They were on the radio, so of course I heard them. But I remember seeing some performance of Paramore at like MTV Spring Break or something, and she didn't sound good. And for whatever reason, my dumb young like bratty mind was just like, meh. They're bad for no reason. And then lo and behold, Paramore was my number 2 most listened to band last year.
Nice.
I listened to them so much. Oh man, I'm so upset that their style changed so much. I like After Laughter, but I'm upset because their live performance changed so much. And I really wanted to see them.
I haven't really seen them live or like looked up too many.
I mean, when I saw them live, like 3 years ago, it was still energetic.
Okay.
At the end of a very long run, like it.
Yeah,
they're not going to be like the Warped Tour band that used to like
no, not that
have the swoopy hair and stuff like that.
But whenever they were touring on self-titled and they had Aaron on the drums, I was just like, this is peak Paramore.
I mean, yeah,
Even though their drummer, Zach, oh, he's such a good drummer. But like, there was something about the energy that they had at that time, and it was like they went really intense.
You know, on the self-titled, that's Alon Rubin.
Yeah.
playing drums. Yeah. He's
Yeah.
Doesn't he play with Angels and Airwaves?
Yeah,
Okay, that's what I thought.
he is so good.
Yeah, he toured with
might
them
be
for a
the
little
best
bit, too.
drummer in the world.
Yeah, he did the
actually.
first leg of the tour with them.
You think he's the best drummer in the world?
He might be the best drummer in the world.
Whoa,
It's very possible.
I'm familiar with him, but not to that extent.
I just love. I mean, I'm also. That's a pretty big statement. It's pretty subjective statement.
Yeah.
For my taste, he is the best drummer in the world. He just hits like.
How would you feel just recording him?
It would feel great.
He's probably just press record and just.
I was gonna say he's one of those drummers. I'm sure you could probably just put one mic up and it would.
You don't have to edit anything. All of his hits are like right on time.
Yeah,
that dude's got to be nuts.
Yeah, he's a monster. Like to me, he's kind of like he's almost like the reincarnation of John Bonham or something. Like just the way he hits is like so powerful and just so. He also has like. I feel like he has like a little more like preciseness to it. So it's almost like he's kind of brought that, to me at least, I feel like he's almost kind of brought that style into the new age and just like, he just murders it to me. To me, he's amazing.
Nice.
Like,
I feel like I've only been exposed to his stuff based off like what I've seen him like post on Instagram and YouTube, but like, and then that self-titled Paramore record. But if you listen like through that record, so many different styles incorporated.
yeah, and he's an amazing, like, what I really, really respect about him and any drummer who's, like, doing it at the top of their, the top of the game is, like, they really are writing to the song, you know what I mean? I mean, you can look up his, like, Guitar Center shred thing and watch him shred, but, like, he clearly understands, like, and I'm pretty sure he plays all instruments and is a songwriter himself, and, I mean, just like playing to the song, that's a big thing for drummers. It's really easy to overplay and to like, want to show your chops and do fills every 5 seconds. But it's like, hey, we got a lot of stuff going on here. Like,
you'll get your times.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you pick wisely kind of thing. And he definitely picks wisely.
And man, can it be a mistake to overplay on an album? Because live, it's awful. You're like, I have
exhausting.
So much to play. It's so much better to like, maybe even border on underplay on the album because one, it gives you more experimentation live. You can actually add stuff live and not overdo it and have cool fills and then have cool moments where like, yeah, this drum beat's cool, but like there's also plenty of moments where you're just playing a simple 4/4 in the pocket beat, just keeping the beat going. Like,
yeah, and if that's what's best, then that's what's best. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, I don't know. I just feel like egos in music really just if you're trying to write music with your ego, it's never gonna be good.
It's so funny thinking about musicians or like just people that are like upper echelon. Like when you're younger and like you're like the only drummer in your town and you can show off like, I'm the only drummer in your town. But once you start getting better, now you're competing with people that are just as good as you. So like now you gotta just prove that you can do your job instead of just being flashy.
Yeah, and I mean if exactly what you said. It's kind of like you have a job and the job is to hold the groove. And like, if you're not doing that for the song, then you're not going to get the job.
Right. I think the band in the scene that I would say I'm most a part of that is doing it the best way right now is Beartooth. And the reason why is because Caleb records all the drums and he overdoes certain parts, but their music is intense, so it should be. And then they have Connor Dennis, who I would argue in that music scene, the best drummer out there. That dude is so remarkably good at drums. And he live will change certain parts to give them a completely different feel. And his fills are so stupid. Like, stupid in the best way. I mean that in a positive way. Not
and it's for the show.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. It's like you can listen to the album and be like, there's flashy moments on drums. And it's definitely like not simple. It's like chaotic and fun. But live, oh man, he pulls out some crazy stuff that like gospel drummers are like, whoa, that was sick.
Yeah,
I love that stuff.
Totally. Yeah, and I mean, I think live that's the time to flash. Like
exactly.
Yeah, because I mean, it's different. It's a totally different experience watching it happen you're watching someone do something crazy, it's amazing. It's crazy. It's like, holy shit, he's doing that fucking crazy ass fill. But like, if you're just listening to it, you're not watching it happen. It's kind of like, sometimes it's like, the comparison I always give is like, okay, right now it sounds like we're listening to like the YouTube drum cover of this song rather than like the song. You know what I mean? It's like, that's something I try to get people into the mindset of like, hey, this is the song. Like, this isn't a cover of the song, or like this is the song. So like, imagine the song that you would want to play the cover to. What would that sound like? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
So that's that's just like a mindset I always try to think in.
I think there's also like, when you go to a show, you're not, if you wanted to listen to the album, you would listen to the album. You want to see like an interpretation, or people kind of take risks, go for it.
Yeah,
and
for
if they screw up, like I've seen bands screw up and get really mad. I've been really mad at screwing up, and then like something changed in my mind where I was just like, I forget who I saw. I saw somebody. You know what? It might have been Blink-182. There was a moment where Mark fucked up on a song.
They'll stop completely.
Well, so they finished the song, but at the end, Tom looked at him and was like, "You fucked that part up so bad," and he was just like, "Dude, look, I hold on." And then he played the part by himself, and then he was like, "I just wanted to make sure I could still do it." and I was like, "Oh,
See, that's entertainment.
yeah, I was like, who cares?
Totally.
Who cares? You could be shredding a solo and hit a wrong note, and it's hilarious. And if you just look out in the crowd, you're just like shit. But anyways, you keep going. Like, it's funny.
Yeah.
Instead of getting mad, like then that makes everybody like uncomfortable.
Yeah, totally.
It's
so
supposed
to be fun. It's like, you hit a wrong note. It's not like you're gonna die. Like, you know what I mean?
And
like,
chances are either nobody noticed, or if they did, your reaction is what they're gonna like hold on to.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that.
So, okay, so let's just hop back into the recording process. But like, what's your favorite part of the process? Like, is it recording a certain instrument, or is it like going through the mix or anything like that?
My favorite part is probably recording drums. Definitely a favorite part, just because it's pretty like it's the most kind of intensive, I guess. As far as the engineering aspect, because you're working with most things, you're working with one, maybe 2 or 3 mics.
Mhm.
But with the drums, you can get into the 16, 17 mics. So it's just fun, because it's like, oh, you really feel like you're doing something.
Definitely. And also,
It's a lot of work.
yeah, and then because you have more variables with microphones and stuff like that, you also have different like
It's basically
kit placement and like
Totally.
playing styles.
way more rabbit holes to jump down.
Yeah.
So
Is it common for which is more common? You recording on your own kit, or bands are like adamant on like, no, I'm using my kit?
most people use my kit.
Okay.
I mean, it sounds good.
Yeah,
It is-
Yeah, most
it's
people
what
don't really-
you're familiar with.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it, so it's we're gonna be able to get a sound fast, and also most people don't really want to bring their kit, or a lot of people aren't like that confident in their kit. Sometimes they're like, oh, well, we're going to the studio, the studio kit. Yeah, exactly. So, I'd say drums probably my favorite, and then also this kind of happens over, it's like a lot of little things throughout, but like I just love those moments of like those creative moments where it's like you change one thing, or someone has one idea that just like sparks something, and then it's like, oh my god, that's it, like that made the song.
I
you
feel
know
like
what I mean?
you mentioned a couple of those when you were recording.
Oh yeah, I mean most of them were from his brain, but there were definitely moments where it was just like everybody's stumped, or it happened with Derek a couple of times when he would sing, where he would just sing a part and we were like, oh, that's the part.
Mhm.
Like, it just came out of nowhere. We had no idea what he wrote, and he just like would sing it. We were like, that's a sick part.
Yeah, and that's such a cool feeling in a room with a band too, because it's like it's almost palpable. You know what I mean? Like I feel like as the producer, that's kind of a lot of your job, is to like feel everyone's like emotions in a way. Like how is everyone in the room reacting to what's coming out of the speakers? And so like that feeling of like triumph, where it's like, oh yes, that's it. Like it is such a palpable feeling in the room that it just feels so good. Vice versa, when it sucks, then it's palpable feeling that's not good.
Is there a moment that you can think of, like either one that it was from you, or like that you were just in the room and like a band was just like, oh, and like something clicked? Have you had any of those moments that you can think of?
I mean, there are. Actually, yeah, I do. On Dangerous Summer's song, Fuck Them All, that was one where we did kind of have an aha moment where it was like just one small thing that like kind of to me changed the whole vibe of the song and like feel of the song, which is like not familiar with the song. We just kind of like it was basically the main rhythm was kind of like straight, just like I want to say eighth notes, and then yeah, we were kind of like, hey, how do we make that like, because the beat, the drum beat is so like it's just so groovy and like so catchy in itself. Like we're like, okay, how do we really like? What if we tried to emphasize this like with the rest of the instruments too a little more, rather than just kind of like, you know, like let's play into the swing, let's play into the groove a little bit, and then that kind of like just that one little change of the groove totally just like it was like, oh shit, there's the song. Like, you know what I mean? It just kind of made it just felt like it made everything fit, and it was like, yes, we got it. So that was that's the first one I can think of off the top of my head.
Nice. It must be a very satisfying feeling.
Yeah, totally.
Especially with a band like Dangerous Summer, like those are all such good musicians, and so everybody having that feeling in the room together, or like or online, or however it worked, like
yeah,
that's got to be that song came out so good.
Yeah, I love that song.
The beat was the first thing I took away from the song too. Is it Aaron playing drums?
No, that's not Aaron. That's their old drummer Ben.
Okay.
Ben Cato.
Sorry, yeah, no, I that beat was like, there's certain songs where like a beat just like carries it, and that was at the beginning of that song. At least I was like, this song has a beat that like already grasped me immediately.
Totally,
like,
and
cool.
if I'm not mistaken, I think that beat was the inspiration for the song in general.
Okay.
So I think that was a big like, you know, that was kind of their spark in general to even write this song. It's like, oh shit, that beat is sick. Like
starting a song with drums, that's got to be. I wonder how often that has it happened with you guys at all.
More than words, drums and bass.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Even though it's just the riff,
yeah,
but just drums and bass.
Yeah, and I mean, I honestly could. I wasn't there when they wrote the song, so I mean, I'm pretty sure though that I know that was definitely one of the things when AJ brought the song. He was like, "Man, these drums are so fucking sick! Like, I love this drum beat." Like, he was like real amped on the drums. I mean, because it's an awesome beat. It's a really cool beat.
Yeah, it's crazy when like you have everyone in the room just agreeing. Like, yeah, that's it. That's the thing.
Totally.
So you've recorded a bunch of bands. Has there been anyone that like, as soon as you heard them, like whether it be their performance or just like the demos they brought in, that you just like kind of blows you away that like that you're about to work with them? Like you get really excited about the project?
Yeah. Actually, and I'm honestly being real. The singer in my own band, who I get to record a lot, he blows me away.
Dude's voice is
all
so
the time.
good.
Like it's just so wild sometimes. What, like, just how like I mean, I've been hearing him sing for like 15 years now or something crazy, and even still now he goes in front of the mic and I'm like, how is that coming out of your face? But, like, it's just wild. It's not like, it's just like you throw the mic in front of him and I'm like, wow, this sounds like the radio right now to me at least. I mean, he
has one of those like superstar quality voices,
right? Yeah,
like,
that's
what
I've always
could
thought
see that like, at the Grammys or something.
Yeah, like, I mean, even when I met him when I was 12, I was like, dude, you are too good. I'm not I was like, we're gonna be friends forever.
Nice.
Like,
it's like, you're gonna take me places.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna lean on you forever.
Please let me ride your coattail. Let me ride your coattails, dude.
If you had to give for just future prospective bands that either would come to you or that are gonna go record, a couple tips, like 3 or 5 or whatever, like the things that people keep missing all the time, or like a common issue you see people coming in unprepared in these ways, what would you recommend?
So I would recommend one. This might be the unexpected. Sometimes I think that people can like over practice and almost hit. I feel like there's a very fine line of threshold with like where you want to capture the performance. Like you want the material to be fresh enough that it's still exciting, but rehearsed enough to where you're gonna know what you're doing. It's kind of like when you can reach that perfect threshold of like, okay, I'm still so excited about this and it feels new, but I do know what I'm doing. That's usually like that's where the take usually goes the best.
It's a cool take.
My experience. But and also, I mean, kind of with that, like so you could say this is another tip too, is just be ready for change and be ready to do stuff like now. You know what I mean? Be ready, be able to think on your feet, because you just never know what's gonna like once everyone gets in the room and you start going for it. I mean, the song or whatever might just get flipped on its head.
Right, and then you gotta be ready to just be there and just change it because it's for the best.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's for the
best.
Of
course. You gotta lay it down, at least hear it, right?
Yeah, totally right. But yeah, I mean, I would just say, get your songs to where you feel confident, but you still feel excited, and be ready for change, embrace change, and don't get too attached. Because I mean, the whole process of going to record, obviously, I mean, and that's should be spoken about before you get there. If the band is like, and I'll do that all day, like, just engineer someone's record. Like, if they are like, hey, we just want you to make it sound good, and I don't care what you think about the song. Like,
you're here to press record.
Yeah, you're here to press record. Then I mean, if I do like the songs, then yeah, I'll do that. But yeah, I mean, really, yeah. If you're most of the time, the people kind of want feedback, So, yeah, just when you say be prepared. Then when you say I want feedback, be prepared to take the feedback. You know what I mean?
Like, well, I think this part could be better for these reasons, and this is like just like this part's trash. Like this part's great. Like, actually, be prepared to hear the truth.
Yeah,
hear the real opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, and everyone and yeah, I mean, that all kind of goes into just the ego in music, really. Just once you hit the studio, I mean, myself included, everyone just needs to take off their ego hat.
Because everyone in that room wants to put out the best possible product.
Exactly, and that's what you kind of have to. That's what everyone has to be on the same page of. Like, look, we can't care about my feelings or your feelings or anyone else's feelings. Like, I mean, don't be an asshole, but like, everyone needs to say what they're really feeling and know. And if it's a little harsh or hurts a little bit, like, that's kind of where you just gotta try to see that perspective. And I mean, and if you really do, at the end of the day, you have a hill that you want to die on. You're like, no, like, this is what I think. I mean, like I said, I never want to like force people to, do something like that, like, change their art or something. I mean, it should be collaborative, and, everyone needs to be on board. So,
yeah, I feel like people, just like having that discussion beforehand, like with internally within the band, what are you looking for out of the producer? Because just going to a producer and being like, you're going to make my album great, or you're going to make my song great, or whatever, without knowing how or what you are actually like. Do you want them to just press record? Yeah. Do you want them to like sit down and dissect the song and really like maybe change it completely? Like, as long as you have that mindset of what you want, I feel like that's huge.
Totally, yeah.
It makes it a lot easier on them, but also on you, because it's like, okay, I can speak freely, or no, they don't really want my opinion on this. So
yeah, and yeah, I mean, communication is key. Just everyone's got to be on the same page.
Nice. Well, so wrapping things up here, Do you have anything that you wanna plug, or anything that you want? But yeah, mainly just plug. Do you have anything you want to plug?
Yeah,
And then how
sure.
people can find you and things like that.
Yeah. My website is willbeasleyrecording.com. Instagram at will_Beasley. I that's pretty much all I use, honestly. I pretty much just use Instagram. So yeah, I mean that's all I got to plug, really.
Nice.
Check out my studio. Check out my band, Wild Truth.
Hell yeah! I'm sure we'll be talking about them soon. We'll get into that a little later on,
We gotta get down here for sure.
We'll find the time for sure. Well, yeah, definitely check out all of his recordings. He's based out of Richmond, Virginia. So, anybody in anywhere near that area, it's worth the travel. Definitely go see this man, work with him if you can. And yeah, thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me on.
Absolutely. And thank you everybody for tuning in. We will see you guys next time. Later.
Peace.